I call the March 27th, 2023 public hearing to order. Welcome, everyone. We have one item on the public hearing, that is a request for appeal of Planning Commission decision dated 3/7/2023 by applicant Darcy. Microphone's on, right?
Yeah.
Mic's not on?
Your
How about
mic is
here?
on, they say the speakers aren't on.
Better?
That's how it usually sounds.
That's how it usually sounds.
I hear you here.
Okay.
I don't know if there's any there.
I'll speak up a little bit. Okay. One item on the public hearing is a request for appeal of Planning Commission decision dated 3/7/2023 by applicant Darcy Development LLC, Dollar General Store number 2023-11-12334, Highway 22, West Ponchatoula, Louisiana. This is in District 10. Okay, and the commission denied the applicant. And we have some folks that would like to speak tonight. And each person will have 3 minutes. And Mr. Virgil Allen, I just took these as they were handed to me and I just laid them on the desk. How are you?
I'm doing good, sir. I would like to first of all thank the ladies and gentlemen and Mr. President for allowing us to speak to this item, who is so special. Our concerns are deep and emotional, as you will hear testimony from our neighbors and friends and relatives who live in this neighborhood. We have come to this board in the past, and you've not disappointed us as citizens. As recent as Ida, and if you were at the Parish Drainage Board meeting the other night, you will hear some of the same comments again tonight for those of you who were not there, and for staff and for you, Mr. President. This will be new stuff for you. But anyway, we want to thank you for what you did in saving us in the south end of the parish. In 2 weeks, we had trash haulers moving things out of our yards, helping us get our lives back to normal. And then the word came out that they were going to take those trash trucks and move them to New Orleans and St. Tammany Parish. And you, Mr. President, made one call and stopped it and said, you're not moving the trash trucks out of our parish. And in fact, we need them for 2 weeks longer, and we got them for 2 weeks longer, and thank you for that. So you've come to our aid in the past, and we're asking you tonight to come to our aid again for concerns for which you will hear from our public tonight. But they've asked me to tell you and talk to you about the history of this area. When my wife and I graduated from college, she got a job in Ponchatoula as a school teacher. I got a job with the Federal Marshal's Office in New Orleans, and I was a Sky Marshal. And after 2 years of that, they told me I had to move back, or had to move within 15 miles of my office in New Orleans. My wife went to New Orleans twice and said, I don't like what I see. I like the country. I like the feel for where we are on Highway 22. We're not moving. I resigned my job and took a teaching job at Ponchatoula High School in chemistry and biology. And I've lived in the place that I'm living now for 58 years. And when I drove home from Ponchatoula High School every afternoon on Highway 22 West, I could see people sitting in deer stands from my car as I drove by. 58 years later, back during that time, we had 10 driveways to Highway 22 West, 10 individual driveways. Now we have 9 major subdivisions with entrance on Highway 22 West. Hundreds of acres of timber has been pushed down, bulldozed over, and now replaced with homes and concrete. That's what we're talking about. We're losing our identity quickly on the south end of our parish. I suspect that 80% of the building permits that have been issued from this parish council have been from I-12 South. I may be mistaken, but I'm pretty close. So I say to you that you inherited, as a board and as a president of our parish, from the former administration, no zoning in our parish whatsoever. You took it from nothing to where we are today. At least you've got the big major subdivisions at least in check. And thank you for that. I'm also supposed to talk to you about the drainage situation on Highway 22 West. Every drop of water that hits Tangipahoa Parish earth on the west side of Highway 22, all the way to Kentwood, ends up on Highway 22 West.
Mr. Virgil, just 1 second. You sound like you're kind of the spokesman for the group, so we're limiting to 3 minutes, but I'm gonna allow you to speak another couple of minutes, because I think you're encompassing most of the thoughts that the folks have out there, so we're gonna give it another couple of minutes.
Thank you,
Okay?
sir. Appreciate it, Mr. David. Yeah. Anyway, my point is that the drainage on Highway 22 West has not changed. The same laterals, canals, and rivers, Yellowwater, Ponchatoula, and the Tallbenny are still the only laterals that have been there since 1947. With the additional growth, the water has to go somewhere. To make matters worse, Katrina hit in 2005. The Corps of Engineers decides that they're going to build a levee around New Orleans. And at a public hearing, I stood up and said to the Corps of Engineers, how is that going to affect us in Lake Maurepas and Lake Pontchartrain as far as sea rise? 3 to 4 inches. Well, go ask Mittendorf what 2012 little Hurricane Ida with maximum winds of 80 miles an hour did to Manchac. They got 4 feet of water in their restaurant. And every house in Manchac, with almost exception, flooded. To make matters worse, they're in the process of building a levee to protect Laplace from the spillway 22 miles to Gramercy or Lutcher. They're displacing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of lowland, wetlands, dispersed area of where water goes when storms and hurricanes come up Lake Pontchartrain and Maurepas. We're talking about hundreds of acres. That water is coming to the North Shore. To make matters worse, Mr. Vial, Diversion Canal, heard about that one? Mm-hmm. It's coming. They're going to dredge a river from the Mississippi River, from Blind River to Reserve Canal, and that water from the Mississippi River is going to be a constant flow of water now coming into Lake Maurepas. Lake Maurepas is a very small lake. The deepest point is 10 feet. It's nothing more than a mud puddle out there. But it's taken all the water from South Baton Rouge, from Denham Springs to Livingston, St. John, St. James, and everything from Tangipahoa Parish. And every drop of water that hits the earth in this parish on the west side of I-55 comes to Highway 22.
Mr. Virgil, could I ask you to kind of wrap this?
Yes, sir.
Please, sir.
Help us again. Support your people. Listen to their needs and their concerns. And I thank you for the time.
Thank you, sir. The next person who'd like to speak is Mr. Randy Bush. And just give us your name and address when you hit the microphone, please.
Don't start it. He got 9 minutes, my buddy.
We're going to 3.
Randy Bush, 14336 Hickory Drive, Ponchatoula and River Ranch subdivision. 3 men, I got to say thank you in my life to Robbie Miller, Lewis Joseph, and Virgil Allen. I appreciate your help. My family appreciate it too. Dollar General on Tuttle Road, Pumpkin Center. First of all, tell your planning commission people that you picked, thank you. I've been to both meetings at that place. They were kind, respectful, very professional. It worked for one, didn't work for the other. Dollar General Store, Pumpkin Center, Tuttle Road. I went in there 7 o'clock Saturday night. No one was working there that I could find. I went searching for the person. Found them in the back, stocking shelves on a ladder. Didn't even see me. I self-checked out and went out. What we were told about Dollar General and all the employees, a brand new store, it's going to be wonderful, whatever. Pass by there and look at that sewage pond on Tuttle Road, and every day my friends and family have to pass that pond and look at it. Fast forward now. That's through traffic counts on 22 West, starting at Domino's Pizza, and then Dutch Lane, and then Springfield, and then middle of Pumpkin Center, and then Old Baton Rouge Highway Pumpkin Center. They all have Dollar General stores. They counting the same people over. You counted my truck that week about 20 or 30 times. That circle of population is not getting bigger. They just putting more Dollar General stores in there. We got plenty. Thank you, Dollar General. You did a great job. You give us 4 options. I could ride my bike to every one of them. Yes, Mr. Joseph, I could ride my bike to them. I might feel bad the next day, but I could do it. And thank you for that. Here's my idea. Close the one down at Old Baton Rouge Highway. Don't build another one. Make them things like Chick-fil-A's. Stock them, have people working there, let people have them there help us. So we'll go there. We do not need another one on Dutch Lane. Last thing, and I'm done. And I have not researched this, but I hear people talking about it at other planning meetings. Without zoning, I still think this board can come up with ways to put a certain amount of those stores in a geographical area. And once you hit that quota, we've done. I think we might have 10 in like a 6-mile radius of different kind of dollar stores. They are invading our residential life now. I'm for economic development. As a school board member for 4 years, I watch tax returns every month. Shop here, move here, it worked. We went from here as a school board to here in sales tax returns. And everyone in here knows this because you watch them like I do. We just got double amount of you because we had 2 pennies and you got 1. I know economic development works and I'm all for it, but let's save our residential area on 22 West and say no to another Dollar General store and let them make it the best ones they got now, and we'll go there and shop, I promise. Thank you very much.
Mr. Bush, thank you. The next person is Angie Fienne. Can you say that for me? Finassi? You gotta get it right?
Yes, sir. Finassi.
Great.
You got it. My name is Angie Finassi. I live at 13398 Rosewood Drive in Azalea Woods. I just want to give y'all a little information. Myself, many of our neighbors have deep concerns over this proposed project. I'm also a realtor who works in the area, been working in this area as a realtor for 14 years. As of now, there are 4 Dollar General stores within 6.5 miles of my home. This does not include other dollar stores like Dollar Tree, Family Dollar, what have you. As of now, these current Dollar General stores cannot keep the store adequately stocked with unopened stock constantly lined up in the aisles. The lack of employees also creates an open opportunity for crime, and I don't think any resident wants to see any crime coming to our community. The flooding issue is also of a concern, which Mr. Virgil said. We've had more flooding concerns over the last several years, and more needs to be done to prevent this in the future. Tangipahoa has no zoning as far as unincorporated areas, and I think as a community, that needs to change to prohibit and control things like this, as we would like to see it. As a realtor, though, this project will greatly have a negative impact on our sellers as far as property values, crimes. You have to look at buyers that you're trying to attract to this area. They're not going to want to move to where an area, if a Dollar General store is going to be their neighbor, if it's something they're going to look out their front door and see. We all want to keep our home values up in our community, and I think that's everyone in this room. Please keep the concerns when you're thinking about voting on this, about the people in your community in mind when you are taking this into consideration for this project. We're the ones who live here, we work here, we eat here, we vote here, our children go to school here. And to be honest with you, as much opposition as this has received, I don't even know why they want to come here. There has been more opposition on this than anything. We have too many of them to begin with. They can't even keep the ones that they have fully stocked, fully employed, and we just don't want it, bottom line. So please keep that in mind when you're doing your votes and thinking about your community. Thank you.
Ms. Finassi, thank you. The next person would like to speak is Ms. Deborah Boudreau. Just give me your name and address when you get to the podium, please.
Good evening, guys.
And I did put you in the middle.
Thank you. My name is Deborah Boudreau. I live at 40068 Deer Creek Drive in Ponchatoula, Louisiana. I also own 2 homes in Emerald Gardens that I rent out. So these all are affected by this Highway 22 thing. A lot of people don't understand is that, and we have a neighbor in the neighborhood that told me that he lived not too far from the Dollar General down off of Pumpkin Center, the one they're closing down. And he said that what happened was they had crime in their neighborhood all of a sudden happen. And he said that what they've discovered is that the people that were perpetrating these crimes are coming in and breaking into cars or stealing things out of their yards were parking at the Dollar General, getting out of their car, walking into this neighborhood so they wouldn't have license plates. They were wearing hoodies so you couldn't recognize them or just, see what they look like. And they were doing this robbing. And then they would go back to the Dollar General, get in their car, and they'd leave. And this gentleman left that neighborhood and moved into Deer Creek because he thought he was going to be in a safer neighborhood. And now we've got this, which is going to be 0.3 miles from my house. I could walk to it. This is a home, there's homes on all around the sides of this property. They're going to build it up high and they're going to cause drainage. I don't care how much ditches that you put around it or ponds that you put in it. I wouldn't want anything concrete above my house because it's all going to flow down on my house. And we do have flooding. Since I've moved here, I've been here over 10 years. When I first moved in, I never had any flooding in my backyard. And I've got a ditch that runs right behind me. Now, when we get a good size rain or a hurricane, that water's almost coming up to my back door. And it's because our drainage needs to be addressed. We need to have that fixed before you go any further in adding any more commercial property or even subdivisions in this area. So that's all I got to say.
Ms. Boudreaux, thank you.
Also, one more quick thing, that permit, the petition that you have, we have over 700 signatures now.
Yeah, we've got, we have copies of those. Thank you. Next person is Ricky Umba. Am I saying that correct? Pretty close, huh?
Hello, my name is Ricky Umba. I live at 39620 Dutch Lane. As we've all heard, Dutch Lane, I'm right across the street from where this is fixing to happen, or hopefully not. I moved there 37 years ago, bought my house, blood, sweat, and tears, remodeled, put my whole life into this house. Love the area, love the neighborhood. I don't need a Dollar General store across the street from my house. I've got grandkids now. I'm hearing there's a retention pond. Obviously, there's going to be mosquitoes in that retention pond. Open, grandkids run across, fall in a retention pond. Safety is my #1 concern here. My good neighbor across the street, which is going to be on the back side of this outfit, Lenny Nunez, bought a house from a judge that owned that land, and I think his daughter's the one that had the front property. He told me the other day that this parish would not let that judge use a driveway off of 22 and made him put a driveway in on Dutch Lane. If it was not safe then, how is it going to be safe now for a Dollar General store to be put in there right beside Dutch Lane, highway that runs 55 mile an hour and some in excess a lot of times? How is it going to be safe now to do that? There's going to be semi trucks going in and out of that facility. There's going to be a lot more traffic in and out of there, along with the Dutch Lane intersection. Safety is going to be a big concern. There's going to be more wrecks at that location if y'all don't do anything about it. The water tower that came up right beside me, that was a piece of property that was vacant. You know, I told the owner then, I said, if you ever want to sell that, let me know. I want to buy it because I don't want anything there. Well, I paid for that. A water tower went in. I got to listen to a diesel generator motor every weekend running. It's not quiet on that at that time. So I want to make sure that y'all understand this is a community of residents, not a business area. One last thing, that water tower, they built it up. They constantly run water in those ditches. I know Miss Kim's tired of me calling her fussing because my tail line's underwater because the erosion happens to go into those culverts and blocks it up. They're not maintained like they need to be. So we're gonna have a business across the street with culverts and things. Are they gonna maintain it? Is it gonna have more water coming on us? I appreciate your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Dunbar. The next person is Jared Jordan.
My name is Jared Jordan. I live at 13003 Highway 22, the property directly across from Dutch Lane.
Thank you.
I've lived there all 25 years of my life. Prior to the turn lanes getting installed, there was a wreck probably once a month. Turn lanes help, but given this, at any time, there will be 8 vehicles interacting with this intersection during peak times. One from my driveway, my neighbor's driveway, one leaving Dutch, one turning onto Dutch, 2 leaving Dollar General, 1 turning into Dollar General, coming eastbound, 1 turning into Dollar General, coming westbound. It might be 9, I don't remember, but including 18-wheelers stalking the traffic, you're gonna undo everything that those turn lanes did. Another problem I have is the environmental impact in my community. There's always litter in my ditch in front of the house anyway. This is gonna compound that problem. Plastic bags that people discard, bottle caps, bottles, someone just stopping in to get a quick drink. It's going to go everywhere. These stores are poorly maintained in general, and we expect them to maintain a drain catch basin. I believe last time, gentleman representing Dollar General mentioned crime statistics and how they're being prejudiced against Dollar General. But he failed to mention if they were per capita. I mean, there's a lot more residences in this country than there are Dollar Generals. Of course, crime's gonna be higher in residential areas. And what is this Dollar General being built next to? A ton of residences. Now, I try not to use not in my backyard, all that, so I'm trying to give you objective facts. We do not need this. Our community does not need this. We live here to get away. We're conveniently 5-10 minutes from Ponchatoula or Springfield. This is gonna put a strain on local businesses like Carter's in Springfield or Boning's in Ponchatoula. You know, not everything has to be developed. Why not just have some trees? We already tore down all the trees around the interstate. You know, if you're gonna develop it, put something there that can benefit the community, a park. Build a home for a new family to be welcomed by the community. We don't need more stores when there's already 6 of them in a 4-mile radius of my home. All this is gonna get, the contractors aren't in this parish. Dollar General's not headquartered in this parish. All this is gonna go to Wall Street. It's not gonna benefit our parish. Voting for this is basically putting a vote in corporate interest over the constituents of your parish. We vote for y'all, we trust y'all, but if you act against our best interest, the people will make sure that you don't secure this position anymore.
Thank you. All right, the next person who'd like to speak is Mr. Ray Sparnick.
Hello, Sparnick.
Pretty close.
So my name is Ray Sparnick. I live at 13121 Irvin Drive here in Ponchatoula. I've been at all 3 of the meetings, and I'd like to just make sure that our voice is heard for 2 more things. So number 1, don't understand why we don't adopt the same ordinance that most cities have now. It's called the dispersal ordinance, puts a minimum 3-mile distance between dollar-type stores. The reason being is that because, and when I say that, our closest one that does it is New Orleans. They've done it as well. New Orleans East has done it as well. Reason being is that Dollar General is listed as a predatory retailer. They crowd out full-service grocery chains in the area. It's kind of their model. They will not hire more people than they could potentially displace from the small guys like the Bonings and the Carters. They just won't. They're going to put between 6 and 14 people in that store. You're going to displace more than that. What they do in their business model is they put packaged goods that are smaller in size than the local competitors and offer at a lower price. Makes the customers feel like they're getting a better deal, but in reality, they're paying more for it per ounce and per package than they are anywhere else. So they're not necessarily a good friend to this community. Dollar General will negatively impact the character of this community. Highway 22 in that area has all these neat signs on it that says that it is a scenic byway. It's kind of hard to be a scenic byway when you start littering even more dollar type stores. And be it Dollar General or any other company, it's that same feel. We have a community, we have a hometown feel. We don't need more of these type retailers within 3 miles of each other blocking this up. The crime increase is going to happen. I have a quote from the former sheriff of Effington County in Georgia. Jimmy McDuffie said that we don't call them dollar stores, we call them stop and robs. The store's design make it easy to steal from. The tall shelves and poor visibility, there's windows all have signage in it preventing police from seeing inside. The operational model creates a larger cash business, coupled with all other factors increasing the likelihood of robberies, increasing exposure to both the employees and the customers. Dollar General knows this when they put a building into a community, yet they still don't address it. They still run with 1 to 3 people maximum at any given time in their community. While I wasn't able to get a direct quote from Dollar General speaking to some of their employees, one of the comments that was made from one of the employees in their Ponchatoula location was that they get shoplifted from almost every day. They've seen drug deals being made in their parking lot, and the females need to call the police to feel safe walking out of their store at night. Do you want that in your community, ladies and gentlemen? I don't. It was made in the last meeting that we should not be allowed to tell a company or anybody what they can and can't do with their property. However, we should put our foot down whenever a company or a person wants to do something that negatively impacts our community, our public health, and our safety and welfare in this community. And that's exactly what Dollar General is going to do. It's going to put an undue burden on our community in the long run, increasing both our police and traffic. Our expenses will raise, and what we're going to get out of it's not going to matter a whole lot at the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smarnick. Okay, and then those that were all speaking in opposition, Mr. Kudran, the floor is yours now.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the Parish Council, I'm Andre Kudran. I'm an attorney in Hammond.
Just started. I'm sorry, Andre, go ahead.
Okay, I'm Andre Kudran, attorney in Hammond. I represent Dorsey Development, and they're the applicant, and they're requesting that you reverse the decision of Planning Commission because we think it's wrong. I filed a very detailed appeal, and to give you all of the reasons why we think it was wrong. It's not a rezoning. There's no variance requested. We're just asking to follow the rules. Now, Dorsey Development itself is actually a Louisiana small business. They're not in the parish, but they are a small business, and they do bring projects to Tangipahoa Parish. We appealed because there's no rational basis for the decision by the Planning Commission. There's the issues that were raised tonight were raised there, but let me address a couple. Traffic and safety. There's a DOTD permit. There's a dedicated turn lane. Your parish rules require them to enter and exit on Highway 22 and not Dutch Lane. They're following your rules. There's a drainage impact study. The study concludes there's no adverse effect on drainage as much as there's concern about that. Crime. Crime is where high crime areas are. The FBI crime statistics I referenced at the Planning Commission. Most violent crimes happen in somebody's home. Too many Dollar Generals. There's no restriction on that. You can't impose that now once this application has come this far and those folks have spent this much money following your rules to get here. The scenic quality character of the area. This project is not an adult bookstore, it's not a strip bar, it's not a dump site. There are nice subdivisions in the area. There's also the water tower with a barbed wire fence. There's a snowball stand, a hair salon, a rundown bar with parts of the roof missing, a 70,000 square foot storage facility, a tire repair shop that's in disrepair, a cell tower, a nursery, mobile homes, small animal hospital, and a gas station nearby. There's actually 14 commercial developments in that area. Highway 22 is destined to be a commercial corridor. And here's the truth. People like Dollar General. They shop at Dollar General. It's a convenient place to pick up milk, bread, or groceries on the way home. Facebook posts, there are Facebook posts actually in support of this project. So the developers are here to answer any particular question we have. We hope we've laid it out for you in our appeal. And I just ask you to approve this application because they've followed your rules.
Thank you, sir. You out of order? You are out of order. Okay. Any comments from the council? Okay, that will end the public hearing, and I'll call the parish council meeting to order. And I would ask Mr. Kevin Greer to lead us in the invocation, and I will lead us in the pledge.
Bow our heads, please. Lord, we thank you for this day and all your many blessings that you've given us. Lord, we just ask you to be with all those who are going through the difficult times and the storms this past. And Lord, and outside this place and even in our parish, Lord, just help these people rebuild. And Father, we ask you to be with our council tonight. We ask you to guide them in wisdom and understanding so that we can do what's best for our parish and for the people of the parish. We ask you to go with us and keep us safe as we travel home tonight. In Jesus' precious name, amen.
Amen. I would ask all veterans and active military. Yes, sir. Yes. That's okay.
I want to ask all of y'all to please asking for a moment of silence for the 25 people that lost their lives in Rolling Hills, Mississippi. Never heard of it before in my life until the other day. And the 3 students in Nashville and 3 teachers that were killed the other day. A moment of silence, please. Thank you all very much.
Okay, I would ask all veterans and active military to render a proper salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if anyone has a cell phone, would you please mute it or turn it off, please? Jill, would you call roll, please?
Mr. Forrest, Mr. Ingraffia.
Here.
Mr. Joseph.
Present.
Mr. Bruno.
Here.
Mr. Richtel.
Here.
Mr. Mayhew.
Here.
Mr. Wells.
Here.
Mr. Vial.
Here.
Miss Hyde. Here. Miss Coates. Here.
Next item is the adoption of the minutes for the regular meeting, March the 13th, 2023.
So moved.
Mr. Joseph,
Second.
there's a motion. Who's the second? Mr. Wells is the second. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Ingraffia.
Yes.
Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
Mr. Bruno. Mr. Richtel.
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew.
Yes.
Mr. Wells.
Yes.
Mr. Vial.
Yes.
Miss Hyde.
Yes.
Miss Coates. Yes.
Okay, it's approved 9-0. Public input, anybody wishing to address agenda items which were not on the public hearing? There being none, Mr. Miller, Parish President report, financial report first.
Good evening. We had a finance meeting or budget meeting earlier. I think Mr. Joseph will probably do a report shortly, but you have your finance reports in front of you, or they were emailed to you, both. So if you have any specific questions or concerns or anything about that, obviously call us, talk to our staff. We'll be glad to answer any of those questions you have. So that's the first item.
Just one comment. I was sitting in that meeting, and we're talking about debris in the parish, and the number that we threw out in the meeting that we have spent, probably, and a lot of it is federal dollars, of course, but we matched it at $70 million since Ida, picking up debris in the parish.
Right.
It's amazing.
And there's actually still a little bit of it going on with other grants, clearing waterways, and some, we got special permission for private property cleanup. Is pretty close to done now. So, but totals, it'll be 70 plus probably whenever it's all said and done. Thank you, Mr. Vial, for reminding me of that. The second item we have is approval to seek bids for a 2023 Ford Transit van or a compatible unit to be used in the Tangipahoa Parish Government Urban Transit Program. This is going to be, we're going to be using FTA funds to do that. We're going to, with this, we hope to extend a bus service to a meet from North Oaks to a meet.
Any questions from the council? Is there a motion? Mr. Mayhew is the first. Is there a second?
Yes.
Second, Ms. Coates. Would you call roll?
That was me.
I'm sorry, we got a question here.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Oh, Ms. Hyde was the second. I'm sorry. All right, would you call roll, please?
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0.
All right,
Okay,
that's all I have.
That's all you have?
That's it.
Come on, man, that was easy.
Thank y'all very much. I want to thank all of our citizens for being here. You know, it's always good to have input. So many of these meetings we have, and we're all by ourselves. So it's nice to have the input whenever we need it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, under regular business, request for appeal of Planning Commission decision dated 3/7/2023 by applicant Dorsey Development LLC, Dollar General Store, 2023-11-12334, Highway 22 West, Ponchatoula, Louisiana, District 10. Mr. Kudran is here representing the Dollar General.
Thank you again, Mr. President, members of the council. We have distinguished educators in the audience. We have, I know, parents in the audience. I'm going to use a school example. Can you imagine a student taking a test, he gets all the questions right, but maybe his nose is running, or his shirt's not tucked in, or his shoes are dirty? That student shouldn't fail the test because he did answer the questions correctly. The other thing I've heard in discussing this is, well, maybe we're going to use this application as a test case in court. And that's a flawed strategy. First, you're making this applicant into a guinea pig, and that's not fair to the applicant. Second, court cases are based on their own facts. Every fact of the case is different. Here's what you're going to get in a court decision, I think. Decisions can't be arbitrary or capricious because that's a denial of due process protected by the Constitution. Your decisions must have a rational basis. And in the end, you should follow your rules. So using this application as a test case, I don't think is a good strategy, because you're not going to get a decision that's going to avoid you from all of those tough decisions that you have to make as you go through your land use process. And we support zoning. We support zoning in this parish. But a court case is not going to solve all of the tough decisions you have to make when you do this. And I'll leave you with this. When you were elected, you took an oath of office. It's actually in the parish charter, your oath of office. I solemnly swear I'll support the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of this state and the charter of the parish, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent upon me as a member of the Tangipahoa Parish Council according to the best of my ability and understanding, so help me God. Thank you for your public service. Thank you for your attention to this appeal. We're asking for a fair and impartial decision, and you grant the appeal and approve the application.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Davis?
I don't want to bang the gavel again, but please don't interrupt. Yes, ma'am. Counsel.
Mr. Kudran, you mentioned earlier that Ms. Dorsey Development also does business here. So on this property, can they build something other than this commercial facility?
Could they build something else? That requires coordination with, for example, Dollar General. So Dorsey's a preferred developer for Dollar General. They develop other projects, not just Dollar Generals. So the answer to your question is they've got this lined up with Dollar General. They got it lined up with the property owner, right, who's here. So all of that is in motion. Everything else, I can't answer that question.
But they can build something else.
Well, you've got an owner who has this property. So your question ought to be to the owner, can she sell this property to somebody else for the same price that Dorsey Development's willing to pay for it. So, I mean, your answer is kind of hypothetical, Ms. Coates.
All right, any other questions, council? Any other input? Mr. Mayu?
Can one of the representatives from Dollar General or Mr. Kuzan tell us, what is the formula for bringing another Dollar General in and the distance between it and when to bring it in?
My name's Greg Biven. I represent Dorsey Development. Dollar General does their own demographic research in areas. They do the research and they provide us with what's called STAs. Those are specific target areas, generally at the intersection of a major highway and maybe a parish road, as in this case, or in Pumpkin Center. They do the research to determine whether or not a store will be profitable or not. In this case, the sales projections on this store are $2.15 million a year. So there will be people that shop at this store. The sales tax that's generated from this store over a 15-year period, which is the term of the lease, would be over $1 million to the parish in sales tax revenue. But Dollar General gives us, like I said, they give us STAs, and then we go and try and find properties as close to that point where Dollar General's requested a site and enter into a purchase agreement if we can find a piece of property with a property owner.
Anything else, Mr. Mayu?
Good, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Moody would like.
Yes, make sure I understand, Andre, you do acknowledge, though, that this property could be used for some other commercial purpose. You're not contending that it's being taken out of commerce by the denial of this permit, are you?
No, sir, we don't own the property.
We don't own the property.
We've entered into a purchase agreement for to purchase the property, which we would only purchase the property if we get all of our permits in place. Once we're fully permitted, then we close on the property, and we've gotten all of our permits, DHH, DOTD, LDH, State Fire Marshal approvals. All those permits are in place to go before the Technical Site Plan Review Committee. We received their recommendation. That's how we.
All right, that's not my question. The question is, couldn't this property be used for some other commercial or private use?
That's really not a decision I would make. It would be a decision that the property owner would make.
I understand that, but couldn't that property owner use it for something else, like a coffee shop or a bed and breakfast or private home?
I would assume that they could, yes, sir.
And of course, that's going to be subject to the rules of the parish council and all the rules that your development rules have.
Right.
Anything else, Mr. Moody?
No, sir.
Anyone else? Okay. Entertain a motion. What's the pleasure of the council? I'll entertain a motion, number 2, from the council. What's the pleasure of the council? Third time, I'll entertain a motion from the council. There being no motion, the ruling of the Planning Commission presently will stand. Okay, the next item on the agenda are some public hearing stuff. And the public hearing for items 4, 5, and 6 will take place on April the 10th, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. First item is introduction of Tangipahoa Parish Ordinance Number 2314, an ordinance to grant a variance to Section 36117, General Commercial Property Development Setbacks and Buffer Areas, Building Front Setbacks for MRLQ LLC, which is in the Talbany RV and Boat Complex. Assessment number 1039108 in District 5. Mr. Rizzo, this went to the Planning Commission and they recommended the variance, but this is your district, and I'll...
Did we talk about this? Yeah. That's the one on Cherry Street? Yes, and that was okay with you guys? Yes, sir. Okay, I so move.
All right, first by Mr. Rizzo, is there a second? Second by Mr. Mayu. Jill, would you call roll, please?
Mr. Bruno? Yes. Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayu?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
All All right, introduction passes 9-0. Now, item 5 is introduction of PP ordinance 2315, an ordinance authorizing the parish president to execute any and all documents in regards to the purchase of 2 acres of land for the Tangipahoa Parish School System for the construction of the Laranja Library. And the public hearing on this one will also be April the 10th, the purchase price being $34,937.80.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
First of all, this has been a long-awaited project.
Turn your mic on.
Mike.
This has been a long-awaited project in Laranja. As all of you know, that's becoming one of the fastest-growing areas of the parish. The library that we have is grossly underestimated for the size of the neighborhood and for the kids that we have. I want to thank Mr. Ingraffia, who basically found the property for the school board. It was 40 acres that a local family wanted to sell that is adjacent to the school. It's the last piece of big property that was available to the school. And I want to thank the school board and Ms. Stilley. When we approached them with it, they acted very fast and purchased the 40 acres and were kind enough to sell us 2 acres of the land for the new library. And my understanding, Mr. Joseph's our board member, Laranja is the next library up on the list to be built.
That's correct.
And we are hoping and praying Representative Muscarella has a bill in to get us some of the funding through House Bill 1 this time. And between that and the money that the library has set aside, there's a good chance if we receive it, we can start construction the latter part of this year on the new library. And we're really excited about that. So I want to thank Mr. Joseph. He's made all the meetings with me and Mr. Ingraffia. And I want to thank Barry Bradford, who has done a lot of legwork on this. And the community is going to really enjoy this. As you know, we don't have a lot of internet service out there. The library is going to have some classrooms in it that'll have computers, and the new high school is going on the same property. So this is going to allow the school board to not have to build a library inside the new high school, which is going to save some money. And this will also allow for kids after school to just walk to the library on the same campus and be able to use it to do their homework. So we're very excited about it. And I want to make the motion to go ahead with the purchase, and the $34,000 is being used from library funds.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Ingraff, there was
Wait,
a
Robbie's got a question.
I just wanted to add that to your comments, Mr. Bruno, that this past Friday, we as an administration met with our Louisiana legislative delegation about our capital outlay priorities, and we made sure the only one we kept out that we added outside of the parish business was the library, to make sure they knew that we were very supportive of the capital outlay for the library.
Thank you, Mr. Miller.
Very good.
Hello.
Any other comments?
Yeah, April 11th, we're meeting at the Laranja Baptist Church for a community meeting.
Correct.
Okay.
Any other comments on that? All right, there was a first by Mr. Bruno, a second by Mr. Ingraffia. Would you call roll, please?
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0. The next item is introduction of TP Ordinance 2316, an ordinance of the Tangipahoa Parish Council President Government authorizing the lease of property to the Tangipahoa Communication District 1 911 Board for the existing site at 211 Campo Street, Amite, and District 3, and is a request to table that. Can I get a motion on that, please?
So move.
I'll
That
second.
was Ms. Hyde and Mr. Wells.
Yes, the lease that we drafted, we thought we had an agreement on with the 911 board, but they've indicated they want to have more time to look at it and review it and make some possible changes, so we couldn't get that done before today.
Okay.
All right, there was a first and a second to table. Could you call roll, please?
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno? Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
9-0. Okay, legal matters. We have 2 blighted property updates. One is 52232 Dana Road. The other one is 27326 Pierre Lane. So I'll turn those over to Mr. Murray.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. The The Downa property went to court today, coincidentally, and the lady showed up, and this is the people that were operating, living in these travel trailers on the property, essentially trying to make it an authorized trailer park. She was still living in the trailer, admitted that she was doing so. The judge ruled in your favor and gave the lady 30 days to remove the campers and clean up the property. If she fails to do that, she indicated would sign a judgment to allow a contractor to move them and clean it up. So we made good progress on that today.
Okay.
On the other matter, I could go to number 8. That's the Pierre Lane.
Yes.
In the last meeting, at least I attended, you asked me to write a letter to the property owner, asking them, giving them one more time. And I've heard from their lawyer, they claim that they've cleaned up about 70% of the property. They plan to clean up the rest. They asked us for a little more time. So I told them I'd pass that request on. Otherwise, we'd have to go through the same process of hiring a contractor and spending money and trying to, that's a process. So with your indulgence, I'd like to give them about another 30 days to accomplish that. Is that okay with you guys?
You good with that, John? Yes. Anybody have any questions about that? Yeah, I think we need to put that in form of a motion. Just 30 days is what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Make a motion to extend, to give these folks 30 more days to get the property cleaned up.
And that's 30 days from now or 30 additional days from the first letter?
Well,
tomorrow will be the 20 days, so 30 days after tomorrow.
Okay.
We good with that? We got the date? What's the date? Today's the 27th, it'd be the 29th. 30
Yeah.
days from the 29th. Okay, Mr. Ingraffia was the first and Mr. Joseph was the second.
Before we vote.
Yes.
I want to say a little something. Huh? I want to say a little something about the Dana Roadman. As y'all know, I've been bringing this up for a couple of years now. Couldn't get them served. Wasn't served by the Sheriff's Department. Process server said he couldn't serve them. But I got to give Nate, got the papers on a Monday. Tuesday he went, got the paper served.
And Nate was our witness today in court. He did a
Yeah,
good
so
job.
I just want to let you know that when you send the right person, the job gets done.
Go ahead, Nate.
So, Nate, thank you, buddy.
And Nate, getting a compliment from Mr. Bruno, that's pretty good.
But this isn't just the first one. It's more, I don't know what's going on here.
This might be a first, I don't know.
I tell you what, Nate's on a roll now.
You got him at home eating dinner or what? Or make sure you bring something to Mr. Bruno.
Hey, when he does a good job, you gotta be thankful for it, and he did a good job.
Yeah, he does.
All right, I need a roll call on that, please.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Richtel?
Yes.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
All right, councilman privileges, anyone? I have one, April the 20th, Hammond Eastside Elementary is having an art festival which is open to the public. And I put that on here because my daughter's the assistant principal and asked me to say it. Anyone else? Anyone else? Motion to adjourn?
So move.
Any objections? There being no objections, we do have a fire board meeting after this, okay?
We'll give everybody a chance to clear out.
All right.